All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to the 38th episode of the Get Down. My name is Kareem.
Gary W. here.
We teased our guest last week, but we have our boy Anthony Ligotti from Digital Music Pool with us today. What's up, Ant?
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
Definitely, man. We've been talking about having you on for a while, so I'm glad we've been able to set this up. And the reason why we wanted to do this is because we are kind of partnering on the podcast. So you guys are going to sponsor this podcast, and we're going to offer. Go ahead, yeah.
First sponsor, big shout to you guys. We've had which we'll get into later, but we've had a long lasting relationship with you guys over events that we've done, and so on and so forth. So it's been a good partnership so far, and this just seemed like the next best move.
Yeah, the last event I attended was the Get Down meeting at Splice. Before that was the last time I saw anybody in the music industry.
We were in the back room doing the mugs, right? Packaging the mugs. And that's when you guys were deciding like, oh, we're not doing WMC. It's just not happening.
I remember people were signing like non-disclosures as they walked in case they got the coronavirus, that they wouldn't sue. It was insane, honestly.
Yeah, that was like the city was desolate at that point. This was like what, March 11th, I think, or 9th, something like that. There was people sanitizing. I don't think anybody really knew how
bad it actually was until like a week later, and then it was like the world shut down. It was crazy.
Yeah,
it's funny. So many people have said like that was the last thing that I've done in nightlife before everything went down. I really didn't think it was going to happen either, because Splice was like, you know, we've been going back and forth of whether to let you guys do it or not, but we'll just have you sign the non-disclosures and we'll be good. I'm like, cool.
I'm sure.
I wonder if anybody did get it from there though, like, because there was so many people so close that day. Like, I was wondering. I was like, I wonder, like.
Yeah, you're at a networking event. You're shaking hands. You're close to everybody. The music was loud, so people were talking at a closer distance. There was a lot of hand sanitizer though, so
they were good about that. But at the same time, in retrospect, like there was no safety precaution outside of hand sanitizer. Like when you think of all the things that we go through now to be in a room with people, we were really not the safest. But anyway, Kareem, go back to the code and everything else.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a free 21 days. You guys can check out Digital Music Pool, see what it's all about, see why we like using it and why we talk about it all the time. So all you got to do is sign up with code the Get Down, and you can check it out for a couple weeks, and then you're going to sign up because you're going to enjoy it and download a lot of dope music, and that's it. So we wanted to start this conversation by just kind of talking about the origins of DMP. And I know you started as a DJ back in the day. So how did you go from DJing to, starting this with your partners?
So I DJ'd for about 10 years. Then I went to school for audio engineering, and I learned a lot about audio. One class I took was like the business of music, and that really like struck my interest. And once I finished the classes and everything, I ended up starting a website that was like remix ranking, and it was called remixchart.com. From remixchart.com, it expanded where it before it expanded, it got a lot of attraction and people were shouting it out, and it was ranking of remixes, and it grew into Digital Music Pool because record labels would begin to send us music. So to turn a profit, we turned it into a subscription-based platform. We began to, get the labels on board, get editors on board, and over 7, I think that was 8 or 9 years ago. I think DMP turns 8 this October. So to keep the story short, that's how it kind of evolved in a quick glimpse looking back.
Go ahead? Sorry, Gary.
No, all good. Did you guys look to any other music pools at the time and say like this is kind of what we want to do, or did you have like an original idea that you guys went with?
I was a member of DJ City for at that time, and I was always curious, like, how do they do it? And like at the same time, like I was becoming friends with people, specifically Bartel, and Bartel's a man of extraordinary music knowledge. So he was a
Legend.
good guy. Yeah, he was a good guy into any questions I had as far as things I didn't know or couldn't find out. And he introduced me to a lot of label people. So a lot of the success of Digital Music Pool is owed to Bartel. So shout out to Bartel. And that's more or less how it began. And I guess, as everything begins, you start at the bottom and then you work your way up and you grow a network and build relationships. And over time, we met a lot of people. Between myself, Sal, and Mike, we were always out. We were always going to events, built relationships up. And, that's the hardest part is the beginning, right?
Yeah, it's something that Cream and I off air were talking about it, how good you guys are at networking and getting your names out there and just being at events. Like the fact that you guys are at, like, I feel like we see you guys at everything,
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a testament of your guys' hard work and, creating those strong relationships in order to grow. So yeah, I mean, that's 100%, but you have to do that, right? Especially when you're starting out, and you got to feel like you feel like you just don't have enough time in the day to hit every single thing that's happening
you got to have the hustle and you got to have the drive. And if you really want to make it in something of yourself, be on the scene, put the time in, nobody's, it's not like, you see like how Justin Bieber, like just instantly became famous. Like stories like that don't really exist anymore.
Yeah.
You don't go on YouTube and, find Scooter Braun and have 100 million, hits the next day. It doesn't happen like that. So you got to put the time in, you got to put the effort. And if you have the drive, you can really do anything in life, I think.
Gary and I were talking about this earlier. Gary's like, how did you even link up with those guys? And I'm like, honestly, I don't even know, because I was like, it had to be from DJs. We used to live next to each other down the shore. Yeah. I feel like that's how I got to know you, because we were hanging out at DJs a lot and I was DJing there. But I don't remember how I don't even remember how I started working with you guys. It's been so long.
I don't know. I knew DJ Cream from Crooklyn Clan, because you were on Crooklyn Clan at one point, right?
Yeah, I was on Crooklyn for maybe like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, and I remember like the downfall of Crooklyn Clan. We were like, well, we had Pat C. We were like, we need more editors. Like, who else could we get? And I remember like I was always using your edits. I was like, well, what about Cream? I was like, because I used to check Crooklyn Clan a lot, and I was like, it was like when, like, I guess he all fell apart for them. And I don't think there was a lot of uploads with your stuff on it. So I was like, let's hit him up. I was like, I think Sal knew you maybe. I don't know exactly how it all looped together, but I remember like you were like one of the high people on the totem pole of who we wanted to be an editor.
No, I appreciate that, man. And like, you guys have always treated me really great. And I love representing your brand, because you guys, treat your brand like Gary and I treat our brand. And I appreciate that. And I love that. So thank you for giving me that shot, and I appreciate that.
You are we love having you on board with the DMP editors,
Yeah, man. So we brought up Bartel and networking and growing your brand. And Gary had said earlier that like this is something we think you guys do such a great job with. Now, is this something that you guys got together and talked about and said this is important, we have to go do this, or it was just kind of like your personalities and you saw success in that way?
Specifically, I mean, I don't know. We don't really have like a master plan of like, this is what we got to do, guys. Like, it's always like one of us is, I think between the three minds, between myself, Sal, and Mike, we're very creative. And when we see opportunities, we present it, we discuss it, we see how we can execute it. And we move forward with it. Like the Remix Awards was something that, like, that was a big thing for us, but that wasn't like an initial idea from us. That was like word got like around, like from like Bartel to Hollywood. And then we teamed up with Hollywood and we had a dinner with him. And then we discussed how we wanted to go, and like how the Remix Awards unfolded wasn't even initially how it was supposed to go. And like how it planned out, how it is and how it was is just how it, how it unfolded, I guess you would say. But that wasn't the initial plan. Like there was a whole different plan when we started, but it ended up being successful regardless, because, how everything starts, when you start something, usually it's never going to go exactly how you plan it. Right. So it ended up turning out really well because, we had creative minds and it was just a good idea in that respect. But as far as other things, like I think when you started the Get Down group, I think it was us that reached out to you. That I think that's how it went. Is that I'm not positive, but we saw like a good opportunity to work with you guys that could be mutually beneficial. similarly with hiring editors, like Angelo the Kid. Angelo the Kid's like a name that like we see him hustling. We see him like he's out there, like he's a good person to hire. Like we wanted him on board. Just things that we see that like, we think would be a good asset to us and also beneficial to the other person. And we jump on it. There's no like, this is what we got to do. This is how we got to veer. This is how we got to go. It's kind of like, this looks like a good opportunity. Let's see where it takes us. And hopefully, it takes us in a good position. And most of the times it does work out well for us because we're on top of it. That's really the only explanation I have for it.
For listeners that don't know what the Remix Awards are, because I mean, it's like a spectacle. It's an event. It's huge. Kind of, tell us a little bit of like the background and like, what it's about, like for people that just really have no idea.
So the Remix Awards before the pandemic, pre-pandemic, I would say, was something we held in Miami every year. And hopefully we'll in the future. It's an event that recognizes the top remixes over the year, spanning from all different genres, electronic music, pop, and it involves some of the biggest names to, some of the household names that maybe DJs just see on record pools. And it's based off of downloads on DMP, as well as radio airplay on Hollywood Hamilton show. It is in partnership with Hollywood Hamilton, if I didn't mention that. And it's about, I think we started it in 2016. We usually hold it at either the W or the Fountain Blue. And it's been a great show. I mean, if you were there, I think you were there, right? Which one were you at? You were at the Fountain Blue ones, right?
Yeah, I think I did the last three.
Yeah.
So maybe 2 Fountain Blues and 1.
Yeah. So we usually hold it there. It's somewhere in Miami usually. I mean, this year I still don't even know what we're gonna do with it. But it is it's based off top downloads, and it just recognizes the elite in remixing.
I really love the fact that like you have, guys that are doing mashups or bootlegs or edits, whatever you want to call them, and then you also have like the bigger names that are all in the same room and everybody gets to hang out and network. And
then how do you not
really
recognize Don Diablo or Jonas Blue or
Layback Luke, Armin, like you name a
Yeah.
person, they've come through and played or hung out or interviewed. It was awesome.
Yeah.
People get lost in the fact that even though it's created by Rehab, that doesn't mean it's the best. You could still have, a generic DJ create a great piece of work.
Right.
So you got to recognize both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I love going to that party. And I think the last one was super cool because I won an award, but it was also super cool because the Beats and Booze guys were doing their thing and I was hanging out with them and helping them and kind of talking to some of the artists that came through and interview with those guys. So that was super cool. You had brought up like Bartel and Hollywood. How did you link up with those guys and what have they meant for you and DMP?
Bartel. So it's weird how I met Bartel. 2010, I think I was still in like school for audio. Me and Mike Gloria, my other partner, are you guys familiar with DJ Earworm? He used to create the year-end pop mix.
I don't think so.
Actually, yes.
It used to be called United States of Pop. It used to get like crazy plays on YouTube, and like KT used to pick it up, Z100, 92.3.
Yeah.
So he used to make it every year. And one year he was getting ridiculed because it was terrible. I think it was 2010. So we made one. It involves pretty much like the top 40 songs, little tiny like phrases over the course of 3 minutes involving all songs to try to make it to your own theme, I guess. And we made one called his was United States of Pop. We made one called United States of Love. And we made it, and I sent it to basically like every radio programmer in America, and a bunch answered back. 92.3 ended up picking it up and like featured it on the front page. I sent it to KTU. I sent it to the program director. I found his email address, and the program director was out of office because it was Christmas. So it was like, if it's urgent, contact Bartel at blah blah blah. I was like, all right, I'll email this guy too. So I email him, and he hits me back. He's like, this is really cool. It's like, you based in New York? I was like, yeah. So he's like, come up to the studio. I'm on air 7:00 tomorrow night. So I was like, all right. So Mike and I went up to the studio the next night, And I remember getting in the elevator, and like his intern came down, and she's like, "Oh, Bartel is like one of the best guys in the industry. Like if he like likes you guys, he'll like take you everywhere and like introduce you to everyone." And that girl couldn't have been more dead on than anyone I've ever met. So like we go up and like the elevator, we meet him, cool as hell. Like he's from the shore. Like I was like, "Oh, I'm always down in Belmar, blah blah blah," and like we just became good friends with him. And like she was absolutely right. Like he introduced us to everyone. He was like one of the greatest guys in the industry still know. He's one of my closest friends. So like that's how I met Bartel, and then everything else unfolded as how I met Dramos and Flips, and how I met Hollywood and everyone else, and for the majority of people in the industry. So it just goes to show you that what you got to do is meet one, the right person, and you open up a whole new roadway in life.
You said a couple things that like clicked in my head. You said like, I literally looked up every program director's email and sent an email. Like, you have to do that legwork to get these opportunities, because if you never did that, none of this stuff may have ever happened, and you may have never linked with Bartel. So like, it's annoying. It might take a while to like create a list and send this long email and figure it out. But like, that's the stuff that's going to get you ahead in the game. And I love that you said that. And like, I love Bartel so much. I don't know him that well, but every time I've ever hung out with him, like, I'm just like, Bartel's the man. He's the nicest dude. He knows everyone. He's smart. So definitely a great person to connect with and link with and help you out.
What's crazy about it is like I sent like 200 emails and maybe 3 people answered me, and he was one of them. And he just happened to be based in New York. And it was so weird because I always remember like thinking like when I got like, like you get an auto reply, like so-and-so's out of office, like hit this guy up if you really need something. And like, that was it. And like, I was like, all right, I'll do it. I'll send this guy too. And like, I just copied it and pasted the same email I was sending everyone else. But like, persistency pays off, man. So.
Yeah, I mean, those are typical numbers, right? You're going to reach out to 100 people and 2 people are going to reply. Yeah. Like, you really just have to stick with it, and like, especially if you believe in what you've created or what you're doing, no matter what that is. And you're right. Like, one person, I feel like a lot of people that I meet that are successful, there's always that one person that kind of changes can change your path, right? Or changes the way that your career path goes. So
I sent it to 100 people. He was the only one I needed to answer me realistically. Yeah. Think about it, so it worked out.
Man,
go ahead, Kareem.
No, so I was going to say, you mentioned your 2 partners, shout to Sal and Mike. What's it like running a business with 2 other people? Because Gary and I have our partnership and we know what it's like, but I don't know if everybody else understands what it's like to run a business with one other person, let alone 2 other people.
Well, were you guys good friends, like good friends prior to this, or did you go into this more in a professional manner? Because I feel like Kareem and I, like, we were friends, but always in a professional way, where we were like DJ acquaintances,
Yeah.
I went to high school with Mike, so I know Mike for a long time. I was DJing in high school, and he like still hadn't got involved in it. And he wanted to get involved in it, so he like hit me up. Like, I wasn't close with him then, and then I kind of like told him what to buy and whatever else, and kind of like, I guess, like, showed him what to do in a sense. But like, then once you have somebody that like you're involved in the same thing with, like, I talk to him all the time. I don't think I was super close friends with him through college, but like, I was good friends with him in a sense because we'd always talk or whatever about music. And then once, I guess, college ended, and he moved back to Staten Island, I was more close with him. And then after college is when, a few years after college is, I think, when we started DMP. So I was close with Mike. As Sal, I met through Mike, and I actually didn't like Sal when I first met Sal, because Sal used to throw events on Staten Island, and he was kind of like replicating an event that I did, and I kind of called him out on it, and we kind of clashed a little bit when we first met. And if you know Sal, like, Sal's not the person to clash with, because he gets vicious sometimes. But after that, like, I became good friends with Sal, and then DMP didn't arise for a few years later. And that's really how we, I guess, unfolded. As far as like how like we work together now, I mean, it's a lot harder because like we used to meet all the time. Like and like I haven't seen either of them together in over a year probably. But like we still like obviously texting is the main source of communication, email. Occasionally we do Zoom meetings, but that's rare. So, but I mean, we have such I guess routines. Like we all know what has to get done.
Right. You have your own role. You have your roles in different
Yeah.
things.
So unless there's like something that like happens once a year or like whatever, like, but this year was so weird. Like there was no Christmas party. The Remix Awards are a limbo right now because like we don't know what we're doing with them. The DJ Expo, which we sometimes do in August, like that's like non-existent. Any event we would be a part of is just, so there's really nothing new to talk about. So it's kind of like just the same,
Right. It's like the monotony of running a business every day and every week and every month. And we deal with it. It sucks.
Yeah.
Like that. Sometimes it sucks.
It does. It's like, it becomes a little boring in a sense because you're doing the same shit every day. And it's like, I don't know. But like we all have the same routines. Like I could not talk to them for a few days and like everything would still function because emails going to this person, the music's being sent to this person to be added to the site, the editors are sending the music to me, Sal's paying whoever has to be like, the movement is still happening, and
right.
So
did that, did the, not downtime, because obviously when you're running a business, there's never real downtime, but the lack of having to plan parties and networking events and things like that, like, did that lead you to producing more? Like, I feel like I'm seeing your name pop up more and more as far as production's concerned, and like what like you're personally doing.
So like I obviously I did have like a knowledge of music production. Like over before the pandemic, I started to get back into producing and like relearning everything, I would say, because like when I went to school for audio, like things were super different compared to what they are now. It's like total 180 of what's available as far as VSTs and sound quality and what you can do, now. It's like it's a lot more complex in a sense, but it's a lot easier because the availability of certain plugins and stuff make producing easier, but there's such a vast amount of things that you have to know now because like there's a dozen different VSTs that do the same thing. So you obviously want to have the best one. So now you got to learn about each one and you got to do research and you got to do understanding. So like I have been getting more involved in producing, but it was before the pandemic. It's just it's a little bit of a not a headache, but like what's the right word I'm looking for? Like it's a challenge in a sense, just of so much knowledge that you have to obtain to produce. So if you like, people that produce music and they make quality music, like I have a lot more respect for them because of the knowledge they have. But as far as like me just getting involved, I'm just getting involved. There wasn't anything pandemic related. It's just I have a new interest in making music again.
We've just seen so many people come, like so much quality music come out of the pandemic due to the downtime and people just having more time to get into it. Kareem, go ahead. What were you saying?
I was gonna say, what do you think about when your remixes pop up on other pools? Because like I remember one day I text you, I'm like, "Yo, your remix is on Headliner. Like, what's up?"
No, I mean I have the master record pool email list, so I just I send it to everybody.
No, that's what I figured, but I thought that was really funny. Like, wait, why am I seeing Ligotti's name on other record pools?
You know what it is? So many people like are kind of dumb in a sense. Like they'll email me, but they'll also put every other email. Like they won't blind carbon copy it. So like I have every record pool's like main contact. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'll send this to like everybody too. When I make something, it's like maybe I'll keep it exclusive on DMP for like a week or whatever. But like, I mean, at the same point, like once it's out and then it leaks on like all the other like, the illegal sites and stuff like that, it's like, all right, I guess I'll just put it out to whoever wants it.
PSA, guys, BCC your emails if you're sending them to more than one. Send it to yourself and then BCC all the people you actually want to get the email.
It's so funny when people try to like be personal too, and it's like you just sent this to 40 other people. Like, so what's wrong with you?
Man, Kareem, I think you got a GDU Bites coming right there. How to send an email.
It's crazy.
We might have to.
Oh man.
do you guys have relationships with other record pools? Like, is there like behind the scenes beef? Like, what's going on? I always think about this.
Um,
You obviously don't have to shout out anyone's names exactly, but
Right.
like,
at one point we had like a lot of problems with one, but we mended that. As far as like if we see somebody like stealing, I'll be able to track an account. I can track an account as far as like the IP address and be like, this guy is stealing from us, and then like and we'll occasionally like group email, since obviously we have all the email addresses to every
Yeah.
of the pool. So like we'll group email like sometimes like, yo, this dude is like stealing like and putting all their stuff on here or here, or like because people make like the like their little Google servers and put all the record pool stuff on it. So like if we can track down who's doing it, sometimes we'll at least give a heads up if they want to listen to us or not. Like we'll say like, if you have this person, they're putting your music on here, just a heads up. And some of them will respond like, thank you, we'll check it, we'll look into it. Some don't answer, but like it's common courtesy, I guess, for you, like your neighbor or whatever, in a sense.
right, like people that are kind of ruining the whole like business, like
so like in that sense, I guess that'll be the only thing. Like we don't really have like any problems with any other pools. Like I know some of the people at other pools, like I know there are some owners that I'll give like accounts to that just to keep good relationships to. If they're a DJ and they want access, like just don't steal the music. Like that's it. Like
right.
Like it's all good then.
How are you guys doing as far as I know a lot of the record pools were hurting because of the pandemic, and a lot of like users were either canceling or just not using their accounts. Are you guys seeing the numbers come back? Because I feel like there's definitely more gigs again.
Yes, like this month, or maybe like the end of last month, like we started to see like an increase in site usage. So we are starting to slowly see it. It's obviously nowhere near the peak of maybe December of 2019, where like things were really hot. Because obviously in January and February kind of just slow overall music. So when the pandemic hit in January and February, like it was still kind of like borderline slow. But like we have a ways to go to get back to like the use, as far as like seeing the same sort of usage. But I think you will. My only wonder is how many people left the music industry or the DJ industry, for like another career, because like it was just super dead. So that's my only wonder as far as seeing the numbers rise again.
I know living in a hospitality driven area, like a lot of people have just completely, like you just said, like they've left the hospitality industry, period, whether it be DJing, bartending, waiter and waitressing. Like, you have to make ends meet somehow. So
it wasn't sustainable.
Right. It just, being a year out of work, just, a lot of people just don't have the bankroll for that. And to be honest, with downloading and whatnot, I'm one of those people. I'm downloading once every, I'm not really DJing regularly right now. Once every 3 weeks, probably I'm on pools at this point.
I think we're going to introduce a chart that's going to show what was hot in each month. Because I think people are going to come back and be like, how the hell
we missed the last 6 months.
Exactly. Like, hey, you missed what was banging in July. Like, here you go.
It's probably still gonna bang in December too.
I know. 'Cause nobody played it for the last half of the year.
So, I hit Cream up with something. I was like, dude, this track's like, it's been out since like April of last year.
I think that's going to be a common occurrence. So I might try to introduce a chart like that in the next month or so. That might help people that are trying to come back and be like, and where to like find what was good over time,
Please do. I would absolutely appreciate that.
You might be the number one user.
I think that's a good idea. I think people will definitely use that. I think it's good just to see if you missed anything, like, just to go back and be like, oh, well, last month I know I downloaded, but let me go check the chart to see if I missed anything.
Well, right. When I came out to DJ by you, Cream, in October, you were playing records. You're like, oh, it's the hottest song of the summer. I'm like, I've never heard this record. Ever. So yes, that's definitely
I think going back to what you said about the industry and like being in a little lull right now, I agree with you. But I think as we come out and as more people are going out and people get back into entertainment and nightlife, I think it'll come back. And honestly, that's like, I feel like that's how the music industry is all the time. Like things happen, there's waves, ups and downs, different things are popular, different styles of music. And this is just a different type of ebb and flow.
But I think also DMP has a I feel like a stronghold on a genre of music, at least for me. You guys are my go-to for like house music with pop vocals, and
Mhm.
you just have so much quality content that is how I like to perform, which would be like more towards like the girls in the room, and
Mhm.
just like familiarity of tracks. So I feel like having that stronghold, like you guys are just the easy. Once I'm back in a nightclub or a bar or a lounge, whatever it might be, I'm going back there for all of my pop remixes,
Yeah, that's
and that's what
good.
makes you guys unique from like the other record pools that I use.
Yeah, I think that's one of our strong points. What a lot of people ought to say is like the edits and the remixes are great. Over the time of the pandemic, we did try to veer off because we figured more people were producing or remixing. So we tried to we partnered with a MIDI company called Supreme MIDI, because if you're producing and you have the MIDI, obviously then you can make a full production remix of the song with ease, more or less. So we stepped that up, as well as like production tools we put out a lot. Once a month, I think they go out, and the acapellas, which we make in house for ones that aren't available. So we try to make it, a little bit less like, if you don't have to be a DJ to belong, but you could still, get some use out of us while you're on a break, in a sense, until the pandemic's over. But the remixes and the edits are something that is a focal point. And I know like a lot of people have given us recognition for that. I mean, we also know we're not going to be the only record pool you're probably going to be a part of if you're a member of us, because each pool has, a strong point. Like I think DJ City, when I was a member, like they were more veered towards hip hop. They had like the big like dance songs, but like, they didn't have like, what Beatport might have. Like they would, kind of only like scratch the surface.
Right.
So I think
Yeah.
we are stronger in the up tempo genre, I guess you would say.
I think another thing I love about DMP, the acapellas are great. What I really love is like you could search by key too. So if I have an idea and I'm trying to figure something out, I'm like, well, I need something that's in 4A. It makes it really easy as like an editor to make edits quickly and come up with ideas quickly. So I appreciate that as well.
Like the searching on a record pool is so important, like, and having it to be clear cut and sorted out in a way where that it makes it, understandable. Because I know a couple that I'm not going to say off the top of my head that I'm like, when I search for something, I'm scrolling for days, so it's funny that you point that out, Kareem.
So my next question is, where do you see like the record pool world going? Like I know BeatSource is a new thing that's coming out where they're trying to get DJs to stream directly from somewhere to Serato. Like, is that something that you think is going to be successful? And I don't know, where do you see record pools going?
Well, I mean, I guess I would ask you the same question. Would you stream music at a job?
I personally wouldn't, because I'd be worried that I wouldn't be able to access certain things. That would be my biggest concern. Like the one time that I was streaming and I went to go find a song and I couldn't pull it up that I know that I had in my Serato, like previously, I'd be like, fuck this, I'm never using this again.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the feeling of a lot of people. I know there was a record pool that was like, probably about 2 years ago. I think maybe you guys heard about it. I forgot the name of it, something locker room or something. And they were like a big streaming record pool, the first of its kind. And I don't know why they went out of business, whatever the case was, but every member that went to jobs that night, all their crates were gone. I remember that day specifically because
Oh my God.
we literally must have gotten 100 signups that night because people were like frantic to download music to find a new record pool. So like everyone that left, like we're like, what is going on? And then we're reading on about how like all these in these DJ groups, like all these people are freaking out. Like it was like a Friday night, nevertheless, too. So
Wow.
So that like's a big fear, I think, of people that were a part of that, at least, that don't want the streaming thing. I know, like, I think I've never really looked into the what is it? It's Beatport's record pool, right?
BeatSource.
BeatSource.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if this song stays on your computer or how it goes or whatnot, but I think you're still a little bit of time away from that being like perfected.
Yeah. What I would imagine is that similar to like a Spotify where you can create a playlist and then download it so that you can access it offline. That would be my guess of how it works.
That's got to be how it works, because there's too many areas where things can go completely wrong. Like, how many venues have we been in that like you can't, even if you're going to download a track,
Yeah,
Like
it's a
you have
problem.
no connection,
Yeah.
like whatever it might be.
I think one of the other big things would be, well, I play a lot of mashups and my own stuff. Like, can I access my own stuff that way? Or does it have to be like an official remix type thing?
Yeah, I think as far as the edits go, I think that's because it's on like a streaming source. I think it almost has to be licensed. So I think to license every edit, to license,
Yeah.
you're gonna take away the creativity of every DJ. Like, how are you not gonna have an unofficial remix? Like,
Yeah.
it's usually the unofficial remixes that are better than the official remixes.
Yeah.
So I think you're a ways away. I think it's a super gray area right now because of where it is. It's a good like I respect what they're trying to do. I
Yeah,
just
I
think
think
it's
it's cool. It's like pushing the limit of something new that could be really
yeah.
cool, or it could fail miserably. Like, not really sure
Yeah.
yet.
I think the money's behind them though, so I think at some point they will succeed. I just don't think it's right now. I think also I mean I think there's a comfort of knowing that the MP3 is stored on your computer over like streaming. Like, I don't know. I'm weary over it
Yeah.
because like I know what it's like to not have a Wi-Fi connection when you're out somewhere and you freak
Right.
out. And like maybe even though if it's stored on your computer, I don't know, it might be a different story. But like I'd have to really like be comforted about it to like completely indulge myself in it. And if I wanted to put my platform on a similar scale to do that, to make sure my customers aren't going to be emailing me freaking out over something happening too. So like the last thing I want to hear is like people like flooding my emails. Like if the site ever like goes down or we're doing maintenance, it's like it's chaos and it's an annoyance because like you have so many people that are like, I'm paying, why can't I access blah blah blah, and like I understand, but at the same point like things go wrong. Our like I remember like there was like a major outage of servers and like people were like bugging out, but it was also like an outage over like all different websites.
Mm.
So like when things go down, people freak out. That's all I know.
Yeah, I've definitely had a couple instances where a website's gone down for like a week, and it's
not
like,
pretty.
dude, I need new music somehow,
It's not pretty.
So we know you guys as being like really, really heavy in the tri-state area. Personally, like, because we're living it. How do you guys reach new markets and kind of, grow into different markets? Because I think like when we go DJ other places, I feel like our style is that like vocal house stuff, and it's very our region, so like how are you growing DMP into other parts of the country and other parts of the world?
I mean, we have obviously our most popular base is the tri-state area, I guess, simply because we're based out of here. We have done the Vegas DJ Expo. I think we did that. I didn't go to Vegas for that. I think that was Sal and Mike. That was one way like we tried to reach out to the West Coast, but the West Coast is a two-way tie between two record pools out there. I won't even name them, but it's heavily favored towards them because they're based over there. As far as like, we do obviously ads and stuff like that. The strongest thing is like when we do the Remix Awards and you have DJs across, the continent, shouting us out. That gives us a lot of recognition. We on a normal, like I think prior to the pandemic, we do, ads and promotions and stuff like that. But there's no like specific way to like gear yourself here. But I do know we have members across the entire world.
Right.
So word does spread mostly, I would say, through mouth of DJ saying like, yeah, I'm getting my music. It's great. Go to this site. But Australia, we're actually really popular on, to be.
That makes sense.
If that's a surprise to you guys.
I feel like I've been seeing a lot of bigger artists playing my stuff. Like whenever I'll go look at some of my better edits that I think are better and just go see if DJs are playing them. Like I'll go to 1001 track list or I'll type it into Google, and like I feel like recently I've been seeing a bunch more of the bigger name guys. So you definitely have artists and bigger names that are using DMP too, which is cool.
Well, yeah, at one point when Beats and Booze was like doing like what do you call it, when they do an episode a week or whatever, I think actually they're coming back soon too. So be on the lookout for Beats and Booze.
Wow, that fires me up.
I'm a huge fan.
Harry, where's the soundboard? We need like the alert. We need the bombs.
I need it. All right. Wait, this week.
So, when they were doing the shows, I was like making connections with all different artists, and Flips was giving me good leads. So at one point or another, like I've given out like Alesso was an account, Diplo, Crowella, Laidback Luke, Loud Luxury.
You gave Dylan Francis an account in the back, like at the show we went to.
Yeah. So like he uses it too, because like I'll track like the bigger names that are like accessing their accounts. So like I know there are like substantial artists that are logging in. I think as far as Diplo, I think like his show uses it a lot. The Diplo Revolution show. I think they're getting a lot of music from us because I've seen a lot of different of the edits on there. So like I give it to them. Like I think even if they log in like once a month or whatever, it's still cool because you're getting music, you know, that from us in a sense. So like I do try to give all the AAA list artists a free account because it just helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, I think we'll finish up with like just some smaller stuff, some little hitters. But what was the last year that you had a shore house in Belmar? What was your retirement year?
19.
19, man. Are you gonna? Do you think we're gonna be back this summer? Are you gonna pop in there once in a while or what?
I want to be a Sunday guy. I'll come down for Sundays.
Right.
Yeah, I think it'll happen. I can't see how it doesn't open, to be honest. I think everything will be open by like probably June.
I'm ready to play some real DJ sets this summer. I think it's gonna happen too. No, go ahead.
I haven't heard calling every other hour for 2 years now. You know, like usually it's 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. You're calling at least once.
I've been working into Hoboken, so I have been hearing calling.
Oh, I forgot the DJs crowd goes to Hoboken. In the summer.
And then just like for DJs that are sending you guys stuff, or what are some things that DJs should not do? Because I'm sure there's stuff that annoys the shit out of you guys. Like, put it out there. Like, don't do this.
Don't submit your song more than once.
Okay,
that's the number one thing to do. I get people like, this didn't get added. I was like, yeah, I know. Like, stop sending it 6-7 times. Like, it's crazy. Like, I have one guy that like, I like search his name because I was like, I've heard this before. I didn't like it the first time I heard it. The second time I heard it, the third time I heard it, the fourth time I heard it. I was like, and I looked, and there's like 5 different submissions once a week, and it's like, if it's not getting added, like there's not a problem with you submitting the track. Like it's coming. It just doesn't fit the criteria of what we're looking for. You know, send quality. Don't send 128 bit rate. Don't send anything that you ripped off YouTube and mashed it up. You know, have an intro on it. Understand the importance of an edit with an intro on it. You know, tag it properly. Don't just put like, my
biggest pet peeve, like my ultimate biggest pet peeve. It drives me absolutely insane. I want to send it back and be like, I like this song, but I'm not playing it.
Like I can respect if like you don't put like the full artist list of whatever, but like at least put like who you are that edited the track. Like I'm not psychic. So stuff like that. I mean,
make it easy. Don't make DMP do more work than they need to. They're already doing a lot.
It's another hurdle just to get over because like the song has to be put up properly tagged, and if I'm guessing, it's gonna be a problem. It's not gonna go up. It's gonna be a problem. Yeah. So like that's a big thing. You know, at the end of the day, I mean, anything you make, you're gonna think is quality. So if you submit it once and like whether it's approved or not approved, like, you know, I respect you sending it in because, you know, you want to take the chance. You want to know if it's good enough or if it meets the criteria, you know?
Yeah. And my 2 cents on this would be, don't get frustrated if your stuff doesn't get posted, because that doesn't mean that it's not good. It just might not fit with what's happening on the site or what that one particular person who's posting the music liked that day. So don't get frustrated. Keep sending your music, keep making it, and something will get posted, because if you keep making music, you're going to get better. And that's it.
One more word of advice. If you see a song is being edited or mashed up or remixed 40 or 50 times, don't go that route of making the same mashup or edit. Now, I can't tell you how many edits of Bed. The Joel Core. I must have gotten about 40 to 50 of them in like the first week. Like people keep doing it over and over. If you want to be like one of the first like 5, 10. All right, but you got to do it quick.
Yeah.
That song is like everyone is just, I got the best edit. I got the best
I
edit.
hate that song.
Like, that's like a Lady Gaga song. We have 27 different edits up of Lady Gaga's Rain on Me.
Yeah.
And that 27 means like, all right, they impressed us. So that means like there was probably like 150 sent in and like 120 we didn't like. So it's just crazy how many people like be creative, create something new, go back on an old song, make a mashup of that, like see what people aren't doing, find something at a slow tempo that like needs to be like speeded up or slow down, do something creative that nobody else is doing. Don't do the same thing.
That was something that I brought up to Angelo and Kareem not too long ago. I'm like, yeah, I not only did I just stop downloading, but I felt like every time I went back on, like people are just remixing the same stuff, the same stuff
like
from
a trend.
2012 over and over again. And I'm hearing behind new vocals. So like, yeah, get creative, guys.
All right, I'm raising my hand. Full disclosure, I sent Ligotti a bed edit. Like there was probably I looked on the site because I'm like, am I gonna do this or am I not gonna do this? I think there was 4. And even then, I already knew that you were going to get the rush of bed edits. So I did like a tech house one because I was like, all right, the other ones are like slap house or EDM or whatever. And I wrote him in the email, like, I'm sorry, but I had to do it.
Nah, as long as like if you're going to make an edit of something, make it early on. I mean, at least if you know the song's going to just jump off. Joel Corey and Dave Getty, the track is just going to be everywhere at some point. But like people like still send like today, I don't know, I got like 2 more. And it's like, I can't add how many is supposed to be. That's even before the rush of official remixes come out. Because the official remixes will come out in like 3 weeks and I'll get like 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like endless. That's my rant for that.
All right, man. I think Gary, you got anything else? We think we should wrap here or what?
I think this is good, man. Good conversation.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Always good bullshitting with you.
Do you have anything you want to plug? Any Ligotti stuff? Any DMP stuff?
Nah, I don't usually plug myself. I just whatever put out, I put out. I'm not at that stage in life where it's like, oh, check out my shit.
Yeah. All right. Final words to the wise that I have to say is I agree with Ant. Make some cool shit. Change tempo. I like tempo changes. Like take a 140 and make it, I don't know, 100 and do something weird. Like I think that's cool. Be creative. Send me some cool creative shit because I want to play it.
Moombahton. That's something everyone should focus on. Oh, it's always hot when somebody makes Moombahton edits.
Yeah. There you go.
Wow, all right.
Now you're going to get all Moomba edits.
Honestly, I'd welcome them because they always do really well.
Yeah. All right. Anthony Ligotti, Digital Music Pool. Thank you for jumping on with us. We appreciate you. We've appreciated all the work we've done together and all the work we're going to do together. So thank you very much for everything.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening to the 38th episode of The Get Down. My name is Kareem.
Gary W.
Thanks, Ant.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Peace, guys.
Peace.